Welcome to AARP, Arizona Hispanic Connection. Educate. Celebrate. Connect. Arizona Hispanic Connection.
Welcome to Arizona Barrio Stories and Latino USA TV. We hope this program here today has something just for you. You might need a little bit of paper and pencil. We are here today with David Parra Luna with Salud, Dinero y Amor. And with much amor, welcome, David.
Thank you, Irma. Muchas gracias. It's always a pleasure being with you, Irma. I enjoy coming here to this studio and just having these conversations. I'm on social media, and I don't hear a lot of people talking about these topics, and especially without selling anything. And we're not here to sell anything. We don't represent any financial plan. It's just information, just from AARP. I work for AARP Arizona, and we have this platform called AARP Arizona Hispanic Connection on Facebook. We also post the shows on Arizona Barrio Stories. Thank you. And so it's a great pleasure for me to come and just kind of review this concept. So the series is called Retirement Bound. I don't know about you, but I like to come up with these phrases that kind of give a good impression, right? And I like it. I came up with retirement bound because, as I said in the last program, whether people are aware of it or not, whatever stage in life they're in, we are all retirement bound because it has to do with selecting employers, finding out if they offer any benefits, pensions, 401ks. We know all of us are contributing for the most part. I think everybody, actually members of Congress, I believe since 1983, if I'm not mistaken, they started also participating with Social Security. You didn't used to participate in Social Security, now they do. So Social Security is almost like a no-brainer. Everybody's going to have it. People can review past programs. We've done several. I think we did like 4 or 5 programs just on Social Security. And then spouses who, for whatever reasons, were not able to go out and work and make money outside, because women, as we know, come on, they just work and work and work. But some, like my wife, didn't go out, and she worked for 10 years, believe it or not. And then she decided to homeschool. Well, we decided that she would homeschool our kids, so she did not get to generate a good benefit on Social Security. My mom, the same thing. My wife's mom, the same thing. So Social Security is a no-brainer, and the good thing is that there's spousal benefit. So those persons who were not able to generate their own Social Security benefit, if they're married to somebody who did, then they can get spousal benefit. Not 100% of the benefit, but at least up to 50%. So then there are the pensions, and we covered in the last show that pensions kind of are a thing of the past. When 401ks came along, employers said, "Whoo, that is so good," right? Because then the responsibility is no longer with the employer. The 401k, it's more of an individual responsibility. Let me just review 5 dates, Irma, and then we'll get into today's topic will be IRAs. I'm sure you've heard of IRAs, right?
I think I know an IRA.
And it's interesting because when you want to say IRA in Spanish, it's ira.
Ira.
But ira is wrath. So you can't use ira. you have to use something else. But anyway, the private pension started in 1875. 1875 by American Express. That was the first company that started offering pensions. Then Social Security came along in 1935. Then traditional IRAs which stands for Individual Retirement Accounts, Individual Retirement Accounts, 1974. Then 401ks in 1978. I was very surprised that the traditional IRA came before 401ks. That's interesting. And then there is a difference between traditional IRA and Roth. ROTH, Roth IRA. And the Roth IRAs came in 1998. Somewhat recent. That would be 26 years ago. So that's kind of like the story of the dates, right? The storyline of this program. And so there are those, and I think everybody, it's important that everyone understands that these are the vehicles that are available for us to tap into when it comes to preparing for retirement, because one day we'll get there. And the worst thing that we can do is not prepare and get there and just with Social Security, because Social Security is not going to cut it. It's supposed to provide somewhat like a 1/3 of the money that we will be needing in retirement, so it's not good enough. So we have to do more. And savings is good, but still not enough. Investments, I'm sorry, but savings is not enough. Investment has to play a part in our retirement preparation. So today's IRAs.
Thank you for the little bit of history. Like I said in our previous show, I think when young people are hired, they don't look at these things, or maybe they don't understand them, so they kind of stand off. So thank you for bringing us all that tidbit.
And though I do not have an IRA, my son does, I have to believe that the IRAs are probably the hardest ones. Why? A pension is a no-brainer. I haven't done anything, and I have a pension with AARP. I don't do anything. They do everything. It's responsibility of the employer. A 401k, something similar. I just say, you know what, I want to contribute with this percentage of my salary. You're pretty much done. They do all the paperwork, and then they'll tell you who the company is who is administering your 401k. But when it comes to IRA, you have to do everything. That's why it's called individual retirement account. You have to look for the institution. You have to decide. You have to learn about it and ask the questions. With IRAs, which is a retirement account for, it's an investment for retirement. You have to know there's going to be fees involved, which in 401ks there's no fees. And if there are, the company takes care of that. Well, the individual retirement account, that one you have to do everything. So you have to be very proactive, and you have to do your homework. And there are a lot of financial advisors, right? There are a lot of financial advisors. I'm sure people know one, or else ask around, ask friends that probably will recommend one. Very, very good to do that. Or go to an institution, and ask, And that would be the starting point. I believe my son, if I'm not mistaken, has it through his employer. So there may even be that option of an employer making it easier for you to get an IRA. But for the most part, you're on your own. You have to go look for it and buy one, pretty much.
Tell our audience, what's a traditional IRA?
Yeah. Okay, so we call it a traditional because there's a Roth. And the main difference, there are several differences, but one is important to notice, that the traditional IRA, you do not pay the tax when you contribute. The Roth, you do. You have to pay the tax at the rate you're in at the moment you're buying that or establishing that account. The traditional IRA, you do not pay the tax now. It's tax deferred, you could say, until you start drawing benefits. That's when you pay tax. So that's basically a difference. Another difference that it's important to note is that the 59.5 year that you can get penalized for tapping into an account, that does not apply to the Roth. That does not apply to the Roth. That's another big difference. So let me kind of go over some of the points for the IRA in a more structured way, and then we go to the Roth, right? So first of all, the individual contributes, and there are administrative costs that needs to be paid. There's also a decision to be made about the investment levels, the risk. People have to be risk tolerant, right? What is your tolerance to risk? Do you want to do an aggressive, a moderate, or a low risk? Because that's going to determine the yield of return. You know, how much your investment is going to yield or return is going to be the aggressiveness. And now you're talking about the stocks, which are more aggressive, bonds less, and so on. So that's going to be important. Then there's contribution limits. You can't contribute all the unlimited less. There is limits to the investments, and then there's catch up. Starting at age 50, there's a catch up that you can do. They allow you to contribute a little bit more. There's a tax deductible. So that means you don't pay tax on the traditional. Remember, the traditional, you don't pay tax on the investment. The 59.5 applies to the traditional IRA. There's a 10% penalty if you tap into the money before 59.5. And then that 73, there is require minimum distributions. You still have to pull it. And then the same thing when pulling the money, what are you going to do with the money, right? And it's very normal to do a rollover. So if you roll it over to, say, an annuity, then you don't have to pay tax on the whole amount, but only on what the annuity is giving you on a monthly basis. That is very important. And then they are sold at insurance companies, brokerage firms, and again, talking to an agent would be a wise thing to do. And then the taxes. This is very important when it comes to when you're retiring and you're going to begin to pull benefits, to withdraw benefits. It's critical that you pay attention to taxes, because if you pull too much, that's going to put you up at a higher tax rate on the brackets. So you want to watch that. You want to be very strategic. And we did a show on maximizing benefits, right? You want to be very, very careful and really, really dive into the nuances of what does it mean if I pull this much, all of it, or just 600, 1,000 every month or so. Very important. If not, you're going to end up paying too much taxes, and that's important. So that's pretty much the IRA, the traditional, I should add, the traditional. And now we can move to the Roth. So that's very important.
The Roth seems to be maybe a little bit more complicated.
I think the concepts are very similar. There's some differences, but in reality, they're very similar. So let's kind of go over them. You cannot, not just anybody can buy a Roth. That kind of surprised me. Individuals have to make less than 161,000, couples 240. If they make more than that, they are not allowed to have Roth IRAs. I did not research why this is, but they do have this income limits that dictate whether you may or may not have a Roth IRA. Then again, the individual contributes. There's obviously no match. Who's going to match? There's no such thing as a match with the IRAs, because the company is not providing it for you. You're on your own. It's an individual retirement account. We've already said that on 401ks there is a match. There's also a contribution limits, and the concept of catch-up applies. Then the investment levels are there, just like in the traditional IRA. But now you pay the tax. With the Roth, you pay the tax. With the traditional, you don't until you withdraw. Then no penalty if you touch the money before 59.5, and this only applies to the contributions only. And then there's also the 73-year-old required distribution does not apply either. So you don't have to draw money at 73. You can wait longer if you so choose. Then you can also do the rollover. And again, you also go to insurance companies, brokerage firms, agents that sell these kinds of products. So that basically explains another important vehicle, means that you can tap into in your preparation for retirement. Because again, remember that we need good health, but we also need money. And we don't want to get to retirement with just Social Security. We need any other means that we can provide or afford so that we can have a pleasant retirement.
I just celebrated 11 years of being retired. And I look back and I think, man, how come I didn't meet David like 20, 30 years ago? So thank you for bringing us these tidbits, these bits of information. I hope somebody was benefit from this.
And even with my own investments, when I look back, I think I could have and should have been a little bit more aggressive on my investments. I took it very moderate, so that shows in what I have in my 401k. Overall good, and thank you again for inviting me. It's a pleasure joining you for these conversations.
Thank you, David. Until next time.
Of course.
This is Irma from Arizona Barrio Stories and Latino USA TV. Thank you, and hopefully you were able to benefit from this. Always tune in, ask questions. There'll be a phone number down here that you can ask them questions if you're not sure. And as usual, we will see you soon.